discussing this week's current affairs. What are we seeing? Firstly, the Russia-India or India-Russia business dialogue of 2023 that kicked off in New Delhi. Now, when did this event take place? Okay, now this took place on the 17th of April, and this becomes important because this had taken place. Similarly, at this event, the representatives from Russian and Indian businesses gathered to discuss strategies for strengthening the practical cooperation between the two nations. And this was with a focus on the initiatives such as the Intergovernmental Commissions, okay, that is IGC. Noticing this thing, it is important for us to also know one thing, that is the about Russia. So capital and the largest city is definitely Moscow. The language that is spoken is Russian. Similarly, the president for the country is Vladimir Putin, and the prime minister is Mikhail Mishutin. Okay, so make sure that you're getting some enough information about this as well. Moving ahead, what are we saying? India delivers the first batch of Brahmos missile to Philippines. Okay, now we have seen that there is a significant move now that is reflecting the deepening military cooperation between India and the Philippines, and that is amidst the rising tension that is there in the South China Sea region. We know this thing for a fact that there are a lot of discussions and there are a lot of issues that are going on. So our relations between India and Philippines and strengthening this makes it a beneficial component. So knowing this thing, we have successfully delivered the first batch of a supersonic cruise missile, that is Brahmos, to Philippines. Now the delivery was facilitated by the Indian Air Force, which is utilizing a C-17 Globemaster transport aircraft, that is to transport the missile and the launchers to the Philippines Marine Corps. Similarly, this delivery marks a fruition of $375 million deal that was signed in the January of 2022. Likewise, if you see the terms and conditions that are there in this agreement, states clearly that India will supply 3 batteries of or 3 batches of Brahmos missile along with their launchers and related equipment. Similarly, as a part of the Horizon 2 of the revised Indian Armed Force revised Armed Forces of the Philippines modernization program. Okay, understanding this, we have decided for the 3 batteries or 3 batches of the Brahmos missile. So make sure that you're getting good enough information about the same and you're trying to read about it. Moving ahead, what are we saying? Now, this is like a chain of events that had taken place in the year 2023 and certain developments that we are seeing from 19 till date. Now, what is this from 2019? So last year we saw certain events. Before that, we have seen quite a lot of events. And this year, it is an addition to whatever we have seen. What is this? Basically, the Central Government Committee on the LGBTQ plus community welfare. Now, what is this? Basically, we know recently there was a landmark case of Supriyo Chakraborty versus Union of India. Now this was a case of 2023. Now this basically discussed about the Special Marriage Act of 1954 that was challenged for its exclusion of the same-sex marriages, which cited the violation of Article 14 of the Fundamental Rights. Drop it in the chat box and let me know what is Article 14 of the Constitution of India. Moving ahead, the committee that is chaired by whom? The Union Home Secretary, that is Rajiv Gauba, which comprises of 6 members that also includes the secretaries from the key ministries. Who are they? Firstly, we have Social Justice and Empowerment Secretary, that is Saurabh Garg, serves as the convener for this committee. Similarly, we have representatives from the Home Affairs, from Women and Child Development, and we have Health and Family Welfare, and finally Law and Justice. All the important places where the community's representation would be right. Knowing this, I'm waiting in the chat section, drop in the message and let me know what is Article 14 of the Constitution of India. Definitely it is talking about fundamental rights, but which fundamental right? Okay, moving ahead. The primary objective of this committee is to recommend the measures aimed at the at eliminating any form of discrimination that is there against the LGBTQ plus individuals in various aspects in life. Okay, now this definitely includes social access or equal access to goods and services, enhancing the safety measures, preventing involuntary medical interventions or surgeries, and finally addressing the disparities in social welfare entitlements. Okay, so all the important places where we see there are potential discrimination for the community, they are now being eliminated, and when there is a full-fledged committee that may help in giving good access. So we saw last year there was a huge discussion with regards to the equal marriages or same-sex marriages as well, and now we are seeing a, so there is a progressive step that we have seen that the central government has decided to form a committee as well. Okay, so try to read about this in depth, and not only the present form of this case or this news, but go in the past as well. Try to study from the earlier times, the time when Section 377 was partially decriminalized till date, whatever we have seen the progress. And likewise, try to read about Supriya Chakraborty versus Union of India case as well. Moving ahead, what are we seeing? The Indian Navy conducted the Purvi Leher. That is, Purvi Leher is the name, which is a mega exercise to test the maritime preparedness. Now, what do we mean by this? Basically, along this was executed along with the East Coast to evaluate the operational protocols and readiness against the maritime security threats in the area. Knowing this, the comprehensive exercise is involved to the active participations of naval vessels, submarines, aerial assets, and the specialized naval units. Likewise, it was conducted in multiple phases, which includes combat training in a realistic scenario during the tactical phases and live fire drill during. So try to read about the phases as well. Moving ahead, in addition to the assets from the Eastern Naval Command, the exercise witnessed a lot of participation from multiple platforms like Indian Air Force, Andaman and Nicobar Command, and the Coast Guards. So try to know about this as well. And finally, this joint service participation highlighted the high degree of interoperability among the armed forces essential for coordinated operations. So read about this in depth and try to see what is this Purvi Leher. And try to understand, has there been any other such exercise taken place in the near past? Moving ahead, what are we seeing? OpenAI appoints Pragya Misra as its first employee in India. Now, what is this? Basically, it has welcomed Pragya Misra as its inaugural team member in India, naming her the head of government relations. Similarly, this comes during the nation's ongoing election, crucial for shaping AI regulation as the world's most populous country. We know this thing for sure. Likewise, it is also important to see that they have not publicly declared this thing, but it has come out that Pragya Misra is the first employee in India. Her role centers on leading OpenAI's public policy affairs and similarly the partnership with a focus on government relations and regulatory frameworks. Now, what do we need to know about OpenAI? The founding year was 2015, the December 11th. Similarly, the headquarters of this is in San Francisco, California, which is in United States. The CEO is Sam Altman and the chairman for this is Brett Taylor. So try to go in depth about this and try to read about Pragya Misra as well. What are the key roles that she had participated in earlier to joining or being a part of OpenAI? Moving ahead, Gukesh. So now tell me one thing. I drop in the chat box again. We are seeing somebody's name here in the chess history. In 2023, we saw similar one more prodigy whose name was there for a very long time in the chess this thing. So in the near past, in the year 2023, we saw a very famous name as well for as a chess prodigy. So drop it in the comment section or drop it in the chat box and let me know who is this person. So understanding this, the Indian chess prodigy, that is Domaraju Gukesh, which is who is just 17 years old, achieved a historic milestone by winning the FIDE, that is Federation. Just okay. So before I tell you the full form, just drop in the chat section again and let me know what is the full form of FIDE Candidates Tournament. Now, this victory makes him the youngest ever and the first teenager to claim this prestigious tournament title. Similarly, with this victory, he becomes the second Indian after the legendary Vishwanathan Anand to win the coveted tournament, securing his place as the challenger for the World Chess Championship later this year. He's now going to fight or now going to face Ding Liren, who is in an epic clash to determine the next World Chess Championship or champion. So go in depth about this and try to read about it. Similarly, come on in the chat box. I'm still waiting. Drop a message and let me know who is this child prodigy whose name was very famous last year in terms of chess. Moving ahead, what are we seeing? Karnataka and Gujarat lead India's clean energy transition. What is this basically? The recent report by IEEFA and the Ember assesses India's state level progress in the transitioning to clean electricity. Karnataka and Gujarat lead while the states like Jharkhand, Bihar, West Bengal, and Uttar Pradesh are behind. Similarly, highlighting the need for more efforts in renewable energy integration and decarbonization. These two states, that is Karnataka and Gujarat, continue to excel in integrating renewable energy sources and decarbonizing their power sectors. Similarly, Jharkhand, Bihar, West Bengal, and Uttar Pradesh need to enhance on their renewable energy deployment and strengthen the distribution companies. Likewise, while we see there is a national progress towards clean energy transition is positive, we also see there are disparities which exist at the state level. So knowing this, try to read these disparities as well. And there are some states that demonstrate the readiness for this transition, but then there are some which lack in the progress of decarbonization. So go in depth about it and try to read this thing in terms of the clean energy transition. So this brings us to the end of today's session. Very soon we'll be starting with certain exciting things on our YouTube channel. So in case if you still haven't subscribed to the channel, I would suggest why don't you subscribe and hit the bell icon, and we will see you in the next video. Till then, keep reading and making sure that you're writing current affairs notes. And always know this thing, memory has its own memory. So try to write down as much as you can so that it will help you recollect and remember things. I will see you all in the next video. Till then, bye bye and take care.